And that's what I have, and it's freezing.
Looks nice.
Yeah, visually.
Feels good. Recording is on.
Yeah.
Recording is on.
All right, we are missing Marie and Bola. Are they joining us online or?
I have not seen them yet.
Do we have a form? Two, four. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, well, let's get started and go slowly a little bit and see if they don't join us. Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order at 3:02 p.m. As noted right now, everyone is here. Amber is joining us online. Everyone's here except Bola and Marie, and Amber's joining us online. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the minutes from the October meeting. Are there any corrections or comments about the minutes? Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. All right, Brad, we are going to recognize Amber Baxter.
Yes, on 7 November, Amber received a 911 call from a male caller, later identified as the father, that his wife's water had broken and the baby was definitely coming. Amber used the EMD cards in her EMD training to talk the father through childbirth and the steps immediately following. The mother and healthy baby were transported to the hospital without incident.
Wow.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, you go back.
Thanks.
Great job.
Have a good day, guys. Thank you.
In your package, so I know that we've already said that these are just the draft reports, but I kind of wanted to go over the meat of some of these. And so you have a one page here that came out of the staffing summary that I just kind of want to talk to you through. And then we have some from the CAD assessment. And then this, the last one there was the formulas on it. It kind of talks through 3 different formulas that they gave us, and that was the population formula, which I know we've discussed and been probably about it before. The cost per incident, which is calls for service, and a maintenance of effort cost, which is how we can all put in the same amount and then do a hypermodel of calls for service on the end. So I kind of wanted to start just with the staffing one.
Really quickly, Brad, I don't know if you have this, you probably don't have it in a way you could share it so that Amber can follow along. So Amber, I think what we're looking at, yes, it's page 8 of the staffing report. Well,
Got it. Thank you. I've got it open.
all right, page 12 of the staffing report, then we'll get into page 13 of the other report.
Yes.
Go through it. Yep. There we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep, okay. So this is kind of what they envisioned that we would look like. The problem is we don't have seven workstations. We have 6. So this, what they're thinking, and these numbers did, total on-duty positions did change to just a single number, but an A-shift squad of, say, 8 would be 2 police dispatch, 2 fire dispatch, just like we have now. We do have a call taker, and the supervisor can also be a call taker. So we have that's how our breakdown is there. The relief person would be there. If we actually had a relief person, like we could sit a 7th person in the room, and that could be on a 7 to 7 schedule. It could be 9 to 9, it could be 11 to 11, something different. Like when we have peak call volume.
Yeah.
If we
like power
A power shift. And so if we do something like that, what that does is it gives us a little more flexibility because then we're not always one position away from minimum staffing, which I just don't know what that would look like yet because, I mean, Kurt and I have kicked around the idea of, okay, what if we moved out of our spots in dispatch? Do we have room over Richmond Heights Fire? Do we have room over here in City Hall? Do we have to go off-site or something like that? Then that would free up Kurt's spot for a 7th position. And then down the road, if we ever got to it, the supervisor could be a supervisor, not just a head dispatcher, and use the office time. So what I'm thinking about for FY27, because I mean, I can't believe we're actually starting the budget again, you know, here in a few weeks. What I'm thinking about is, and this whole going up to 30, that's where the 30 comes from 2022, where we are right now. I'm thinking for FY27, the only thing that we do is unfreeze those 2 positions that we froze in the Rock Hill. I think if we get back to 6 on every shift, or we could kind of practice with that power shift, because night says they are good with 5. And if we put a 6th person there that just sat there and was bored, that would be a waste of resources. But we could maybe try this power shift on days and see how it works with just staying with 24 people. So I just kind of wanted to toss that out there and see if y'all had any initial thoughts on that, or you want to keep, I think we should unfreeze those 2 positions, but.
So that first step would be go to 24 in fiscal year 27 for the power shift.
We would, so right now we're at 21.
21.
We have 1 position that I've interviewed about 5 people trying to fill, and that hasn't
But you're
worked.
budgeted for 20.
Your budget for 22. You're talking about what authorized number 22 to 24.
Yes.
And these
And
the
then
first
FY
step 1 would be the power
27,
shifts.
Yeah, the goal would be to at least go back to the 20. And then you're still, yeah. But you're saying you can't even implement the 30 because you only have 6 workstations.
Correct.
That was my question. I couldn't remember how many workstations.
And to have 24, you have to figure out that space, or you've got that spot.
We have
that training
yeah,
spot.
if we go to 24, we have.
You would convert that training.
And so instead of doing 7, you can do 6 and 5. You just can't do the 7 and 6.
Correct.
But you would try the power shifts.
I think that would be
Days.
smart, because I just don't know if putting that 6th person on nights is the best use of resources. And I think we could try it, you know, because the problem, and Kurt was explaining this to me earlier, and he can probably explain it better. But when you get someone that comes in from 9 to 9 or 11 to 11, that person starts getting taken out. Oh, well, they're here. Can I leave 3 hours early? Or, you know, hey, can you come in on days even though you work on nights? He said eventually nobody wanted it just because they kept getting beat up. So we would have to do it in such a manner that's like, this is your shift.
Right.
Don't want anybody.
Everyone leave them alone.
So,
Remind me again, what would be the power shift? I know when you look at the calls for service.
it immediately jumps up to 7. So we were talking today about, they have tried 11 to 11, maybe 9 to 9 also could be reasonable.
So maybe for the budget, can
6
you,
to 6, is that what you're saying? What was the power shift?
Like 9 to 9, 9 a.m. to,
But if it jumps up at 7,
it jumps up at 7.
Or just going up.
But then it stays there.
Significant. About 9 o'clock is where you really start feeling the heat.
Yeah, that's where you start getting the 700, 800 and stuff.
so you're thinking 9 to 9?
Probably.
so would we want, Brad and Kurt to put something together for our consideration during the budget, like any budget implications and?
Yeah, so it needs to be, right, we can't afford to just adopt what they're proposing,
Oh,
right away.
absolutely,
But I like this idea of a transitional, like trying to move towards this, yeah,
Okay,
and taking that step.
so,
Wait a minute, Amber, do you have any thoughts?
No, I agree that, let's add this into the budget conversations.
okay, so look at adding, unfreezing the two positions that we froze for FY 27.
Okay, so you think that with a head count of 24, you think you could try the power shift?
Yes.
So those two things, which I know there's a financial component because there's a payroll component to all of it.
No, I mean, it's gonna be clear from the final report. It's been clear every time we've done a staffing study that we're way short of where we should be. So
Just
I think taking that first incremental step to see if it makes a difference makes a lot of sense. So
I mean, that way, we're not trying to say, hey, let's go hire 4 more people, let's spend $300,000 extra dollars.
yeah, let's look at it.
Hi, Marie. Hi, Marie.
Hey guys, happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. So, just to catch you up, we are on the Mission Critical Partners staffing. We were looking at page 12 of the staffing report. And again, these are drafts, but Brad was explaining the ECDC physically only has 6 workstations. So having more than 6 dispatchers is physically difficult. He has a couple ideas about that, but what he would like to bring to us in our discussions of the fiscal 27 budget is unfreezing the 2 positions that we froze, and then schedule for the power shifts that the staffing report suggests, particularly for days, right? For the day shift. Yeah. And so we had just kind of finished a discussion of, we'd like to see that analysis during our discussions of the fiscal 27 budget. Okay.
Great.
All right. Turn it back to you, Brad.
Okay, now can we go to the CAD assessment, page 6? So in 3.4.2, where it talks about CAD operations, I kind of just wanted to go over some of these because even though they were just here not very long ago, a lot of this stuff is already dated. So, the first part there where it talks about unit recommendation issues due to inaccurate GIS, we've attacked that on 2 fronts. One is Regis now has all of the county next gen 911 maps. That upload was complete. The second thing is when we went back into provisioning and fixed those issues that Brentwood had initially reported with the cost versus distance issue and the use and not use of speed limits, our ticket system probably went, any type of tickets for those issues probably dropped 75 to 80% of the number of tickets that we're getting out. So the second little paragraph there where it talks about mutual aid activity is strong and the reason need to pursue CAD to CAD interfaces. We're doing that with Terra. We now get, so apparently Motorola and Terra were talking and they were including Central County, but not us. And so I reached out to Greg Brown and I'm like, what has been going on? Who's doing what? And he said that Greg is now giving us every Friday updates on where they are, but they're still trying to figure out, okay, Motorola, you're responsible for this, and Sarah, you're responsible for that, Central Square. And so it's not going to be a fast process, but we're moving in that direction. And that's going to help a lot of things other than just seeing where units is. We get something like this, we can take all the delays off of the year. So,
how many months are you thinking?
given the way Motorola moves, I would be surprised if we see it in 2026.
The Intera piece.
Yeah.
The connection?
However, they could really surprise us.
They could. I just don't want to overpromise something.
I know that we're not Regis and that we're not the direct customer, but they know that this is important. I mean,
Yes, ma'am. I'm actually having a meeting with the Regis COO and Greg Brown on Tuesday.
can we as a board set a goal just so that you can use that as my board wants to see
Yes,
this?
absolutely.
It's not necessarily Regis right now, it's Motorola.
Motorola and Terra. 6 months.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking by July 1st.
Okay,
I don't know how anybody else feels.
at least an update. But I can say, hey, look, they want something in place by July 1st.
Right.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
saying,
Yep,
not
yes,
update, I'm
yep.
saying, you
Yeah.
want to see it in place. I mean, I
Okay.
know, again, I know we can't.
If you-
How does everybody else feel? Can we say July 1st? That this board wants to see the connection by July 1st? I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
Okay.
So they also talked about third paragraph, EMD has been transitioned from priority dispatch to APCO. It has been for a while. Dr. Tracy and Dr. Lee, they're not collaborating. They are done with that piece. That was the piece about the life threats. The third modifier has been added. And the life threats are, it's turned on for everybody now. So this,
December 1.
yeah, as of December 1st.
Okay.
Now, so on last Friday, for this fourth one here, the mobile iOS has known defects. According to Motorola, these iOS defects were from known bugs. 4.6.19a was finished uploading on Friday. That new release is supposed to be able to correct all those iOS bugs. We'll believe we won't see it.
It's uploaded and it's in a set of, basically test servers to make sure that there's no bad interactions before they put it live.
When are they putting it live?
And 19th, next week.
That's
Friday.
It'll be
19th.
Friday.
Oh, after the 19th, is that what you're saying?
I think the 19th was the day they wanted to, and I really hate doing stuff on the 19th. Not,
Oh,
next-
Friday?
maybe Monday. Do you remember? It's right around the corner.
Before Christmas.
Yes,
Yes, 22nd.
they just did, you do it on Friday, you end up working the weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
So you break it. So, and then the next paragraph there, like I said, that's 4.6.19, that's the upgrade they got completed. I'm not really sure what they were talking about fourth and their self-initiated calls, we already did.
Yeah, because did you guys have some issues with some safety concern about self-initiated or no? Am I wrong? Am I remembering that wrong?
Self-initiated is 99% police related. And I agree with this when I'm not trying to throw the police chiefs under the bus. They're really worried about the police officer calls on, like a traffic stop or the types of calls that they may come across and have a high propensity for violence. So,
And not tell,
and not say
not announce
anything
themselves?
on the radio.
Mhm. So it's about training.
Training for their guys, for the police officers, not to do that unless it's the only way. So we're working towards it. We're just trying to come up with a happy balance for everybody where they don't feel like they have to put themselves on a traffic stop or something to that effect. But they can that way, because we can put in CAD at basically a one button push. They hit, I'm making this up, F5, and it takes their latitude and longitude, finds the closest address, says, I'm right around 10 North Beaviston on track, which is better than them jumping out of the car at a traffic stop. The radio's busy, they can't get on the air, and they start calling for help. We don't know where they're at. So we're working on getting that situated.
So when you say you're working on getting it situated, does that mean that the police committee is working on drafting a policy that all the agencies are going to adopt?
They're not quite to a policy draft yet.
But that's what they're working towards?
Towards.
Okay.
Right now, it's poking holes to make sure we have a good solid policy.
Can we switch to page 12 where it starts with recommendations?
Page 12 of this report.
Yes, ma'am. Hang on. So MCP gave us 7 recommendations. Some of them will still be in here in the final, some of them won't. But I'll go through them real quick. Recommendation 1, work with Regis to resolve existing mapping issues. That part is complete now. Recommendation 2, add a dedicated CAD system administrator position to work directly with Regis. This is something that I think we should be pushing towards, because the problem with Kurt and I being the jack of all trades is sometimes we get so lost in daily operations that we don't really have time for capital planning or, you know, those things that we need to be doing. So I don't know if that's FY27 or if that's down the road, but I think that person needs to, I think we need one more administrative person.
It's just really quickly, after your review of the staffing analysis and the CAD analysis that we have here, would those be your priorities? Unfreezing those positions at 27 and then looking at the CAD admin after that?
Yes, yes.
If we had that in budget time, that would be helpful too. When we have the other conversation, just to know how this phasing might look. And what's the long-term staffing plan that you all would recommend to implement this?
Yes, sir. Recommendation 3 was enroll staff in additional CAD system training. Kurt and I are the only ones that do the administration, but there is additional training at Regis on Vision. Recommendation 4 is never going to happen. Regis does GIS, so I think that was just a miscommunication with MCP.
So you think that's going to be modified in the final report?
Yes, ma'am. When we had that one actually will be. Yeah. Improve communication with partner agencies regarding issue submissions and ensure timely responses and follow-up. This has gotten exponentially better. That's how we fixed a lot of the things that we did was the chiefs or the guys out in the field would say, hey, this route is wrong or this improper unit was selected or whatever. We go in, we do our due diligence. And I think that process has gotten a lot better. So that's also a reason that the tickets have fallen also tragic. ECDC and Regis should collaborate to establish recommended hardware standards for all agencies and address current connectivity across device types. We do that weekly. That's the meeting that we have.
But they put that in here, so was that not have to be, but during the conversation, it was determined that it needed to happen, so you guys have already started doing it, or?
One of the things that they kind of pushed that is there's just no way it's going to happen is they're like, we kind of wish you guys could have your own CAD system. I'm like, well, yeah, we kind of wish that too, but it doesn't happen. And so it's, they know that we have to work with Regis to get these things done. And so I think they were just pushing that, but I will reach out to them and ask exactly what they meant by that. too.
Or if you just say continue to or strengthen your collaboration.
Yeah.
We're also Regis, I'm working with one of the guys at Regis. If you have a salesman come in and go, oh, this, if you do iOS, it's great, it walks on water, or you can do Windows, it's great, it walks on water. He's trying to sell you a system. So we're trying to take the salesman lingo out of it and go, if you want to do iOS, it'll work, but this won't, this won't, this won't. Where it's more black and white, where you're looking at it without that feels, oh, we need to make this safe. So we're trying to get there.
So is that something, isn't there a working group for all the ad agencies?
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning. And so is this recommended hardware standards for everyone that is using CAD and not just the ECDC agencies?
Yes.
Is that what the organization is working towards?
Regis, yeah, that, I'm working with Michael and there's a couple other people. I can't think of their names, a lady from St. Charles and a couple others that are all putting our input in, because part of the hardware recommendations is if you buy a Windows, it needs to be the XP 1000 or better, so forth. But we need it boiled down a little better to where it says iOS can do this, but not this. Windows can do this, but not this. And where when somebody's trying to decide which way they're going to go, the hardware specs on what model you need are better is straightforward. It's more of the functionality and what will and won't work based on what Motorola says in our experience.
Can I expand on that, or can I weigh in on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when I look at this, I look at, in the very beginning, we asked them, what end device should we be utilized? And we were told, we were given two sets of specs for the Windows-based and iOS-based. And even with Motorola, talking with Brian, when he came and helped us, he said it would have been beneficial for somebody to go, oh, you need to go with this device. This is the best thing that would make this CAD system work the best. And that was never given to us. He said that would alleviate a lot of the problems, because now you have one device. That's what we recommend. And then now everybody knows we troubleshoot with one device. And that's what I think that they're talking about when it talks about this device, the end device itself.
So, but Kurt, it sounds like you guys aren't doing that.
But it's kind of like with Regis, they need to be able to show both in case somebody wants that. With East Central, it would be really nice if everybody was on the same Acme 1000 computer.
Yeah.
Because then I could do screenshots. This is how you set it up to make it work, do this and send it out.
But you can't make people, yeah.
But isn't this that's what this is getting at, though.
Yeah.
We would just have this whole list of,
Yeah, but we need that first thing first
Yeah.
and then work on.
Right.
what-
I think, yeah, I think it's an important recommendation. I think it'd be really helpful.
And the recommendation 7, I don't think this is going to go anywhere either, because it's kind of segregate us from the other RCAD people. And because I think the reason that they were doing that is they were concerned by what some of the things that they had heard when they did their interviews. And one of those things was someone can make a change to the system that jacks everybody else up. That was a thing. It's not a thing anymore, because the people that have that global access, now only Regis changes stuff with global access. It's not like you've got Joe Schmo over here doing something, and then all of a sudden these 10 fire departments out over here that don't even have anything to do with him, all their systems are out. So that the global change that does not happen to the people in the field.
Brad, when you say that that's not a thing anymore,
I'm sorry, Marie, can you speak up?
I can. Hopefully that's better.
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Brad, when you say that that's not a thing anymore, that just one person can make a global change, has that been codified in policy? Are there agreements? How do we ensure that it won't happen in the future?
Well, Regis will take away your access to even get into the system. The admin access.
Okay.
So it's now all done by a committee. So like if there's a change that you want to bring forward, now you have to actually bring it to Regis, and Regis will bring it up in our Thursday morning meeting for a vote. And it's actually a change management system, and they will make that change.
But do people have the technological ability?
We do. That's why it has to be. So when you log into that admin system, how you get into provisioning, you can choose an agency, or you can choose that global setting where it's just fire. If you do that, Regis will take away your privileges. So
There's, like, if Regis brings in a new agency that comes on, they limit their access, but there's a handful of us from the beginning that they let us keep it just as a fail-safe, where if Regis implodes tomorrow, somebody can still get in and make changes that are.
But the new agencies, if someone comes on, they won't have that technological.
Right.
they will not have the ability.
Just
But there's like, what, 5 people that do or something? What is it?
Us, Kirkwood,
St. Louis County,
Okay, so 3.
3 agencies in Regis.
and it's not like someone could do something and get away with it.
And I had, and we had to sign something that says we will not touch this without explicit
Okay, so there's
permission.
something documented.
Yes.
So that was my question. Thank you. Is if there is actually a policy procedure in place. If there is, that makes me feel better about it. But I think there's also the realization that things happen by accident. Doesn't mean that someone's necessarily going to go in and do it on purpose. So anyway, I don't know. I think there's strength to having the recommendations still there, because it does create issues when it does occur. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so any other questions on the CAD recommendations? Okay. So the alternate pricing strategy, which starts on page 8, where the charts are. I'll tell you, they did not even do a chart for city valuation, because we told them that was a non-starter annual on tax. So the one on the front page is a population-based cost formula. This one is really all over the place as far as who's going to go up and who's going to go down. I don't know if you all have read these and have already, in your head thought about, okay, this might be a better approach than this or whatever. I don't think anybody really likes the population model. I don't know if anyone does.
I mean, I think we've always talked about, regardless of calls for service, you have to have people in the seats there to be ready to answer the call, right? And that the idea of some sort of base amount, because you need the dispatchers funded and in the seat, and then something based on something. I mean, that idea does make sense. I saw where I don't know, what was it? Out of the 2 million, they took the 2.8.
Everything over 2 million.
I think you could sit and we could debate, how much does it cost to just have so many butts in the seats, and then So, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, but the concept, I'm saying, the concept makes sense. It's just, I feel like whenever we talk about it, then we can get into, okay, well, what's the number, or which number is the starting point?
Right, is the base.
And then, yeah, and so you can do the math still 100 ways. That's just my thought. I'm not saying that I hate it, but I'm saying it makes sense, but it just, I don't exactly know how they came up with, what they came up with that starting.
So they're gonna come and present the final reports to us, yes,
Yes, we can talk.
we can, so here's a thought. I know there are, 4 reports here, right? Would it be of interest to the group if we set aside just a meeting with them on pricing alone, as that might be the one that we have the most comments and discussion about?
Is it a virtual meeting?
They're coming. They're actually going to be.
Well, could we do pricing virtually?
Right.
I don't know, I'm just asking if
Okay.
that's, so that we can, this is a topic that we have struggled to actually have conversations about, but we all want to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want the conversation to be shortchanged because we're trying to get to 3 other topics, or we get really involved in one of the other 4 topics and it gets shortchanged because we don't get to it.
Do we want to set up like a virtual meeting right after the holidays to specifically do pricing? Start talking about it early.
Yeah, I mean, I'm throwing it out to the board for everybody's thoughts and considerations, if that's useful or not useful, or.
I think it'd be great to have a dedicated meeting for that.
Amber, you shaking her head. Okay.
I agree.
And we would be okay if the pricing one was virtual?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Would we be okay if all of them, if the report back from them was all virtual? Like even the one for the other 3?
I told them from the very beginning that you guys had said you wanted an in-person presentation, so they're planning for that, but that does not mean we can't change.
I'm fine either way.
It saves us a little bit of travel money.
I'm just asking.
Oh, will it save us money or?
Or we already,
We
already spent it.
We already spent it, we might as well get.
I mean, I
another
don't know if
do we
the-
need them here
I
for
don't
anything
know
else?
if the CAD report is the one that we need to have this big presentation and talk about it all in person, and there's all
Yeah,
these
I-
technical.
I agree. I think we probably have chiefs that would want to be here for that.
Yeah,
And
but
kind of
then
hear this.
Because that was wasn't that the big reason why we were hiring them, is to do like a CAD evaluation, but then we could do separate virtual meetings on the things that we added on. The board added these other, am I remembering that correctly? That we added the staffing and we added the pricing and we added the AI. So we could do 3 virtual and then, but they could come in and talk and do the presentation on the CAD analysis. What do you guys think?
I agree with that one. Amy.
Marie and Amber?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
So we do the virtual ones first and then they come in and give the,
We all
well, because if anything were to come up in the virtual, it could be wrapped into the final in person.
So the pricing is virtual, right?
I think, yes.
accepted that.
Okay, just with the meetings we've had, we've always had a hard stop because they have other meetings. What would be the minimum amount of time you would want? Just so we can make sure they have. We can try to schedule this.
I would say probably a 2-hour.
Okay.
2 hours. 2 hours.
Thank you.
Hopefully.
Yes.
And so just to wrap up the stuff that I brought in on this one, the cost per incident on page 9 is essentially call for service. That's all it is. And then there on page 10,
But what it is, it's without all those admin calls that we have taken out.
now we did
I
not,
was just like, whoa, my calls for service are even higher.
I don't think we discussed with MCP about the calls that the board
So it's
approved.
not
that
the
would
same as what
Would
we-
not be billed.
Yeah, so
I think
it's the same, but
Is it using the same 2-year rolling average?
This one, they actually recommended the 3 to 4 year rolling average, which I kind of wanted to throw out there is that interest zone.
Is that what this calculation is based
Yeah.
on?
3 to 4 year rolling average.
okay, I guess I didn't catch that in there.
Can they use our approved calls so that these numbers line up to what we're currently doing?
It is different.
If they exclude those call types that we don't
I don't know
have,
that the percentage is, I don't know how much,
I don't
I
know
just
how-
call calls for service.
I just want to make sure that it's matching whatever our policy is for the types of calls that we.
Or are they
Yeah.
recommending something different? I guess.
Yeah.
It was not clear
So
that table 4 was supposed to be different or the same than as the way we're doing.
yeah, well, I know, he said an alternative to using calls, wait a minute. Where is it? One of the most common activity-based cost sharing approaches is based on calls for service. And so that's what they were saying.
Again, I just want to make sure that the calls for service that they're showing in their table is being billed at the same ones that we use.
Yes, I mean, we sent them, I sent them all of our numbers.
Okay, rather than just using the
Right.
total number.
Right. I sent them everything.
So, but if the incident numbers are not the same, like we should be able to pick up
To
the,
match
they should match,
the 2-year average.
correct?
calls we
They
don't
should
want.
match the 2-year average. So I guess what we're wanting to see is them using the incidents that we already have a formula for how to calculate incidents. We'd like to see them use that formula to create this chart, and then maybe table 4A, which is their recommended 3 to 4 year rolling average, which we can also provide them that data,
Yes.
right?
And where it talks about the rolling average, I think it was on some of the previous pages, they were,
Yeah.
so. I just didn't want to find out everything.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the back page showing us the maintenance of the efforts.
Are they willing to still make changes or are they not making changes?
They'll do anything that we tell them to, but
So table 4, we have some,
yeah.
okay. So I guess what we're saying, that do we want one table, is what we're saying, we want one table to be our existing so that we can compare tables, is that what we're saying, Jennifer?
That's what
Or are they making?
I said just for, I would say either the cost per incident needs to be using our incident definition formula, right? So that we can compare to what we're already paying.
And if they want to make a recommendation.
And their recommendation is to do one that's 3 to 4 year rolling
Show
average.
that as a different table.
Right.
Okay. And, but this cost per incident is right at our.
I don't know, is it?
It is. I've run this 10 times if I run it at all.
Why do I feel like, when I saw it, I felt like it was different.
I've always gotten times wrong. But this is our current budget
But isn't my current thing,
divided by our current incident.
but isn't my current thing like 689? So I just don't think, I don't know that it actually matches. And that's why I just thought maybe it was slightly different.
I will go back and
Okay.
confirm everything.
It could be skewed a little bit because we just put one thing to fund that one. The lower cost, and they didn't.
True.
Yeah, but that shouldn't matter with, we just double check.
And then what they did, what you were talking about earlier, was they took on the current budget, they took everything over 2 million and divided it by 6. So everybody paid that base. I don't know if it's that easy or if it's, you know, you come up with,
I mean, every year you'd have to decide. So it's like, I don't know if we would tie it, if we need to tie it to a line item or something, or I don't know. We need to have, that's why we can have a conversation about it first.
okay.
You know, do you say payroll is what you tie it to, you know, or
Okay.
okay, so we're done with that one?
Any other comments about the pricing? For now? No. All right. Yes, sir.
I would say that yeah, we need to check the math in table 4 and table 5. The cost per incident, even though the budget and the incident numbers the same on both, is different. The cost per incident is 2401 on table 4 and 1685 on table 5.
Are they dividing 2 million by the number of incidents?
I think they were only using,
We can do the
the
balance.
first 800,000.
No, because if they're pulling out,
Yeah, the eight.
Or they're using the 2 million.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're
Okay,
using
Right,
the
right,
2
right,
million.
right. So then they're changing the weight of the calls.
Yeah, I got it. It is the 2 million.
I don't know, but there was some, table 4, there was something about it that didn't make sense.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Sorry about that.
No worries. All right, AI.
We did speak with Max at Aurelian last week. He sent us some other things because a lot of the things that were, and a lot of the things that were on that AI environment assessment, we've never had AI, so I mean, we stored them below. But some of the things you really can't do ahead of time. It's kind of part of the implementation. Like since we don't even know which one we're going with yet, and that's another question. When do we want to look at really getting this off the ground, and can we sole source it, or would you want to do an RFP because there's about 8 to 10 companies out there now that do this exact same?
Are they gonna talk to us about the AI report also?
Yes.
So maybe a decision from us after we have heard from them.
Let's have that virtual meeting.
Okay.
But I was intrigued by, you know, they said they thought what 40% of the, is that 40% of the 3,000 call of the 645-3000? So I mean, obviously that's a huge.
And it could be, I've heard as high as 70. Which, but different centers are doing it different ways. I've talked with 2 or 3 of them, whereas one may be like super aggressive, you know, hey, we're going to use it for everything. Whereas another one is, you know, let's baby steps before. And so, you know, I think preparing the dispatchers, because they're going to have to know how to work it, coming up with solid policy behind it, preparing the public that when it's going to sound different when you call us now. But what, you know, Kurt was saying earlier that, you know, we'll have to go out and sit down with Chief Orr. Okay, when someone calls for this, who do you want that to go to? But, you know, we're going to have to do that with every city. We're going to have to go sit with Public Works and go, okay, if it's road related, does it go here? If it's trash can related or whatever, because the litany of types of calls that, you know, that we get is all over the place. So there would be a lot of work on the front end getting it set up. But once it's set up, it's going to be working. So
Have they tied it to staffing? Assuming partial or full implementation of AI, does that affect needed staffing level?
when MCP was here, I asked that specific question. I said, the board would like to know, you know, your staffing report, me and ABCO are usually pretty close, but would the AI implementation change your mind on those staffing numbers? And they said they would work that in, but they didn't think so, because these AI systems are just meant to enhance and to allow the dispatchers to better focus on the most important job, because we get dispatchers that type in a wrong address. Doesn't happen often, but it does. And so one of my thought processes has always been, they're just trying to get to that next call. You know, the phones are going crazy. They're using speed over accuracy. We're trying to really hammer it home that it's accuracy over speed. Because if you're wrong, it doesn't matter how fast.
And I just feel like since we're nowhere close to the staffing recommendations, right? All AI is gonna do is help us because we're not gonna reduce staffing if we're not even at the 30. So it'll help alleviate the stress the dispatchers are on, and hopefully the quality and the accuracy will be better. And then I guess the question will be, after using AI for 24 months or some period of time that you have to have, then you look at it and go, okay, so is it helping? I mean, I just don't see it for us eliminating positions. It should improve the communications.
Yes, I totally concur. And when Kurt and I were talking earlier, we were talking, you know, when you have these understaffing problems, you can attack it with people, but you can also attack it with technology. So, you know, we may clearly be able to show 12 months, 24 months from now that with this AI, we really don't need 30. Maybe
Well, we're
it's
26.
you know,
we're still at 24.
yeah, right. You know, maybe the magic number is 7 on days and 6 on nights,
Maybe
and then we're where we want to be. And
A couple of the agencies that I've talked to said they haven't gone from 50 dispatchers to 20. But what it has done is it's helped with retention, and which helps with experience and makes us better. And I can't think of the exact way he put it. One director was saying that you put this on there and because right now, every dispatch center in America is having issues finding dispatchers.
Yeah.
Because it takes a special person. And this stays off the, holy cow, we're so sure we got to close the doors. And he said it's really saved, you know,
It's
our
supporting
center.
the industry.
Yeah.
yep. So
Well, that'll be a good meeting.
Okay. Anything else about AI?
I wish we could afford it tomorrow.
I know.
All right, Intera.
So again, I've talked with Greg Brown. We're meeting the Regis COO on Tuesday, and maybe he can speed this process up a little bit. You know, I've been told by Brian, our Motorola guy, he's like, you know how Motorola is, it's just this big giant machine that doesn't move fast. So, but we're going to get our every Friday updates, and we're going to keep leaning on them, and Jason Nettles is leaning on them, and so we'll get that. Now for the topic that kind of a thorn in everyone's side. I know Marie had brought up the lead bank, the central lead bank versus allowing people to do donations of sick leave from one person to another. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to, I kind of wanted to talk about that. What you wanted to do with those extra LTD hours. Do we want to stay at 500 or do you want to go to 520? And do you think?
Okay. Well, I have a question about
Yes.
number 1, letter B. Talks about for their holiday pay. So they get 12 hours the first day of the month from January to October, totaling 132. Except 10 times 12 is 120.
11 personal day.
Okay, so that's what I figured. So I would go back and look at that, because if I am an employee and I'm reading this, I'm gonna go, okay, I get 132 hours, right? And then I go to letter C and it says I get another 12 hours on January 1st. So I'm gonna add 132 plus 12.
Okay.
And now I'm at 144, right? So I would either put like 120 on B, leave C the way that it is. And then in E, when you explain holiday hours are paid on a schedule of 2 in the first month, which is your holiday for January and your personal day, your floating day. And then 1 each month throughout October for a total of 132 hours. I would just
Word it like that.
word it like that, so you, because employees tend to have math,
Okay.
and which is not intended the way you think they're intended. Any other kind of changes or thoughts unrelated to the sick leave bank that we can maybe knock out before we get to the sick leave donation thing?
I feel like when I did the math about the 520, it made sense. When I thought about it, when I read it. At first I was thinking 500, and then when I was like, well, the dispatchers work differently.
2,080 hours a year. And we had talked about, it took 90 days to get to long-term disability.
Mhm.
So 520 was a quarter of 28. So that was
Yeah, because they're not working 8-hour shifts.
correct.
So I'm just saying, so then once I figured out the math, the 520 then makes sense.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, the only thing I had was on C. It's talking about abuse of sick leave. Can we just put something in there that says if you're out on approved FMLA, that's not considered abuse of sick leave? Like if you use all your sick leave and you're out on approved FMLA, that's not considered abuse. Because there's a thing in here that says if you use all of your accrued sick leave, it could be considered as abuse.
Okay.
Right. And, you know, you might not ever do it. But
Yeah.
I think that was put in there just because there have been some,
oh, sure, I'm not,
and it's, it's earn it and burn it.
right, and I think it's fine that it's in there, and I think that,
Serious illness.
but if you had a future executive director who was looking for a reason to get an employee in trouble, and it says in here that you use all or most of your accrued leave, that's abuse. But it shouldn't be if you're out on approved FMLA.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. All right, sick leave donation. Which topic do you want to tackle first?
So do we want to allow employees to directly donate to another employee that's in need, or go to this central bank that would be managed by, I would say, me and HR and finance?
I mean, I do think you're just gonna end up with drama.
We've always done it as a rule.
Yeah.
So I looked up just for more examples. I looked up the federal system, like the GS employee system. They do allow both. They have a central bank. They do allow person-to-person transfers, but it's not sick leave to sick leave. The only thing that you can transfer is your accrued annual leave. So if you knew someone that was going to go out for cancer treatment,
And people, yeah, we don't need to be in people's.
so, I mean, that's the only problem with, I mean, now if someone says, hey, I'm pregnant, I'm going to need maternity leave or something, then that would be easy, but there's no, I don't know about the central leave bank because I don't know what all information would we need. And then, like you said, with HIPAA, How do we make that determination? And I don't think, honestly, I don't think it would be an issue because I think if we have a central bank, no one's gonna participate.
So we have a sick leave donation policy and it's like per person. The employee requests it through their department head who sends it to HR. HR, evaluates, are they on FMLA? But the employee also has to have used all of their sick leave time,
Mhm.
right? And then it's HR who sends out an email. So-and-so employee is requesting sick leave donation, and then employees, submit that to HR. And then it's sort of, if let's say an employee ends up needing 80 hours, right? And 100 hours are donated, then those 20 hours are not pulled out from the last people that donated. And so it's sort of a pool, but it's managed through, HR, and so people aren't getting into other people's HIPAA stuff, right? And
Everybody has to know some. I mean, I get what you're saying.
right, but they can know that they need to be gone. It doesn't have to say why.
No.
I do think we should limit how many hours per year you can donate.
Absolutely, because one of the things that I thought of, and someone could do this without trying to hurt us in any way, but someone could be like, you know what, I'm retiring. I've got, 500 hours here that I never used. I'm gonna be altruistic and just throw them in the sick leave bank, but then once they're in the leave bank, they're still our liability. So even though they have no cash value.
Your bank doesn't have a balance.
Right, correct, there's no balance. It's like we create the bank on an as needed basis. And then when the employee comes back to work, anything left in the bank goes back to, if I donate first, then all my hours are used. But if David donates last and only 2 of his hours are used, he gets everything else back.
I mean, I'm completely open to something like that.
I
That's how
think
y'all.
Marie has a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I do. Sorry, did I get off mute? Apologies. There's a lot of policies around. I mean, we've got a policy. It sounds like Jennifer's got a policy. It would be helpful for you to review some of these policies and make a recommendation rather than us creating the wheel.
I reached out to Central County to see what theirs was, but theirs is so different from ours that it would like revamp the entire thing. So, and that's not just their donation, that's how they run their sick leave policy.
Right, but it sounds like Webster has one, we have one, does Richmond Heights have one? You got realized it was
No, we have one and it's ours is a full system.
a full system.
Yeah, I mean, if you want
People
to.
went to PTO, we got
No.
rid of it. We don't have.
No.
sick leave, so.
No, we have a general pool and you can apply to get donated leave that people throw into this pool, but we don't say so-and-so's going out. Do you want to donate for so-and-so?
Oh, you know, okay.
So I'm just feeling, I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah, from time to time, HR, they'll send out these regular employee communication things and they'll say, if you have extra leave, put it in for the employees that need it. And people will put it in from time to time. And then, what always happens is somebody will go out. There's always word of mouth, maybe of what's going on. And then you'll see donations come in that way, but we just maintain a rolling pool.
I was gonna say, so yours carries that.
You have to carry, a balance in order to do it that way, but
That's
it's,
the thing, is like, what
it's
happens if the
completely-
person who donated then gets a terminal illness and it's like, oh, I need my 100 hours back that I did in the pool. It's like,
you can't pull it back out.
Well, I guess you could if you put in for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pulling
you
it out
have
of
to
the
apply
pool.
for it.
Yeah, you'd have to apply for it and you could pull it out that way. So I guess you're getting it back in a way, but. I'll send it over to you.
Oh, please
So
do.
if you want to just take a look.
And then I'll bring it, I'll figure out what I think is the smartest way and I'll make a recommendation.
Okay. Anything else about this? Any other parameters we want him to look at?
So do we want to keep number 8 out and keep adopt the revs? don't we need to
Yeah,
correct
we
some
need
of
to
the
correct the other
existing
thing.
policies?
And then what do we want to do with the existing, the employees with their own personal?
So 5 people have hours under the LTE block. There has been no more accrual since October.
For those who are over the 500 or the 120?
The ones that were actually accruing hours under that LTE thing, there's been no more of that. Now, because when you use, as that LTE pool was growing, there's a couple people that the group already paid for. But if they were to go get sick or have a procedure or whatever, they have to run through all of their sick leave before they can even touch that. So there are some that have hours under LTD, but their sick leave may be like down to 250 or 300. And Marie had made a suggestion. I like it personally because it doesn't affect a whole lot of people, but do we make those people whole before, get them to 500 or 520, and then the other hours, since they have no cash value, we just delete them. And then they're off the books and they're not alive.
Maybe we wait, because, so my thought is, if we choose to do a pool like Clayton does, right? Maybe make those employees whole to 500, 520, and anything extra seeds the pool.
Well, I think we can talk about that, but I do agree that, I mean, it may not put them at 520, because what, if they have 20 hours in the LTD, then I guess give it to them. And if it gets them closer to the 520 or to the 520, that's the max.
Mhm.
I think that's fair to do.
I think you would not approve after that.
And then I think, I like your idea of then when we talk about this donation, maybe we would know how many hours beyond that are there that we could decide, okay, the rest of the LTD that you all had is gonna go into the donation if we do the donation. But don't say anything until we decide the donation policy.
Right.
So you could come back and tell us, okay, we gave it back to everyone. So they went from 270 to 380, or they got to the 520 and we're gonna do hour per hour. And then we'll know, I guess you can tell us how many hours of this made up LTD are still out there.
Or maybe we want to see what that would look like before he actually does and gives this stuff back.
It would be over 1,000 hours.
That's
Just being a dirty man.
Yeah.
So, which, the way I'm thinking about it, right now, we've got a lot of liability with LTD. If we just take it from, if I've got 400 hours, and we just throw it in the bank, East Central doesn't lose that liability. It's-
Right. So we need to
Right.
So give people it and then we need to probably, yeah, I see what you're saying, then wipe it away.
That's
I mean,
what
if you have
finance
the
is supposed to
520, if you have the 520, you have the max sentence. But I see what you're saying. They had it and then they got sick or had a reason to use, and so there's a gap. So
I'm one of them. When I went out last year, I used 6 or 8 weeks, whatever. And I did a lot of donating my LTD hours. I think I've got like, 20 hours sitting in my LTD now. And I'm at 400 hours.
So can we see the accruals? Like, I would hate us to make a decision in a vacuum, like,
we don't want to see it with names.
We can,
everybody that was involved in the program, I put in that 2-page dress now, see all the heavy covers
What
on
is
it.
in there? The names.
Oh, so it wasn't there. I don't want to see.
Did that have names? I don't think.
I don't know. I don't.
But so the 3 different courses of action on there and what it did to each one of them is on that 2-page. So that
We
was
need to eliminate the LTD and get rid of it. It shouldn't
Yeah,
exist.
that needs to go.
and when I talked to the attorney, Powers, he said that since those hours were not awarded properly, that nobody could come back and try to do a lawsuit saying that we took her hours of flush. So. So the 520 versus the 500, the pool versus direct donations, and what to do with the other hours. But we really can't decide that just yet until we know what kind of pool we're going to have.
And have an idea what the accruals are.
Can we decide the 500 over 520?
Oh, we already did.
Okay, so
Just put in a motion.
Yeah.
Motion to cap leave at 520 hours.
Yes.
That's my motion.
All right, so David's made a motion to cap sick leave at 520 hours. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion about just capping leave, sick leave at 520? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? So the motion carries, motion carries. Do we want to, like Amy said, move the policy forward with the exception of section 8 about the leave donation so that we can get these other changes on the books and in place?
And you made that change to the beginning of your agenda.
Yes.
What was Amy's?
Amy's comment was that I also made the change at the very beginning
In B.
in 1B
So with that change too.
And the FMLA.
and the FMLA in the abuse
Oh, yeah, and about FMLA, approved FMLA use
is not constitutes sick abuse.
What about the people with LTD below 520?
But I think we're gonna wait on that.
It doesn't say anything in here. Doesn't say anything about the LTV in the policy.
No, but we were.
So we're just trying to, but we're just trying to approve this policy.
I'll make a motion to approve with those changes. And the exception of section 8.
The sick leave donation,
Yes.
leaving that out
Remember it all.
for now. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to approve the policy as submitted, leaving out section 8 sick leave donation and including the change to number 1, letter B, and letter E, as well as, oh my gosh, number 6, letter C, which is the FMLA sick leave abuse. Is there a second to David's motion?
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
I-
Any opposed? All right,
Send us a copy of,
the motion carries.
send us a copy of the revised.
Okay.
Just a little copy.
And then you'll have the sick donation stuff at the next meeting.
Yeah.
So we can tackle that.
And we can talk about LTV.
All right, any?
Yeah, but do you think there's gonna be an issue between now and then if it's still, is it still reflected on their biweekly pay stub? Or is it not on?
The last leave report that I got, it didn't show it on there.
So it's still an issue, but it's not like we're announcing it every 2 weeks.
Okay, any public comment? Okay, Any general thing from any of the other board members?
We're gonna try to set up virtual meetings in January.
Yes,
Yes.
personal meetings in January. Okay. Anything else?
Okay.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, we are adjourned at 4:17. All right. Bye. See you next year.
That's what I was thinking about.
Did you have a meeting tonight?